Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. We're going to talk about two articles this morning. Both of them are relatively short. The first article is about Virginia Roberts and how she is backing the Department of Homeland Security's campaign against human trafficking, and about her tweet that she posted in support of what the DHS has going on here. And the second article we're going to talk about is about our good friend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and about how she is still nowhere to be seen, but still is lawyered up and preparing for the lawsuit that's coming. So my question is this, with Ghislaine Maxwell especially. We heard that she has hate mail that's piled up 2.5 feet high. Who believes that? Nobody believes that. No. First of all, where are you going to write the mail? Where are you going to send it, okay? You're going to send it just to Ghislaine Maxwell? Nobody knows where she is, I thought. So how is she getting all of this mail? Second, with Ghislaine Maxwell, this lady is incredibly guilty of the same exact crimes that Jeffrey Epstein was guilty of. And furthermore, I believe that she had a leadership role in all of this. So under RICO statutes, her penalties will be even harsher. The question is she going to ever be arrested, and is she ever going to face justice? Because normal people aren't able to move from safe house to safe house. They aren't able to have Navy SEALs protecting them around the clock, and they aren't able to lawyer up the way she is lawyering up and going, head to head with Virginia Roberts' lawyers. Where is she getting the money for all of this, folks? Who is her beneficiaries? Who are the people that are protecting her and giving her money? They're out there. They're definitely, someone's doing it. This isn't happening on its own. She isn't just, she doesn't have a money tree out in the backyard where she's pulling out off hundies to go pay her lawyers, right? Somebody's helping her out. The question is who? And the question is why? In my opinion, it all comes down to her ties to the mega group and her ties to the intelligence community, folks. There is no other explanation on why this woman would be so hidden. She's more protected than the terrorists over in these countries are, right? They know where these terrorists are. They don't know where she is, though. Or do they? Or do they really know where she is, and she's already working with the FBI, perhaps? Who knows, folks? That's this case, especially the Ghislaine Maxwell aspect of it, is so convoluted and so almost impossible to decipher, because we're only getting tidbits of information about Ghislaine Maxwell. We never get like a full story. We never get like, we get, sources say, or she took a picture at In-N-Out, or there's never no concrete evidence. The Sun has a $10,000 reward for anyone that can put them into contact with Ghislaine Maxwell so that they can find out where she is and maybe interview her. And nobody's been able to claim this reward yet. That's 10 racks. That's a lot of money. $10,000 is a lot of money. And I have to tell you, if I knew where Ghislaine Maxwell was, she'd be getting the dime dropped on her ass. 100%. And I'd be laughing all the way to the bank with my 10 grand. Because this lady needs to be stopped. Her criminal spree, her crime spree, has raged on for decades. And while Jeffrey Epstein was the fall guy, while Jeffrey Epstein was the face of the operation, we all know at this point, Ghislaine Maxwell was the brains. She was the brains, folks. All right? She was the lady that put it all into motion. She wrangled it all up. She put a nice little bow on it for Epstein. All Epstein had to do was be his sick self when these girls came to his house. It was Ghislaine Maxwell who put this whole thing into motion. I am utterly convinced of that, folks. Utterly convinced of that. And to be honest with you, the evidence points that way as well. I don't have hard evidence of that, nobody admitting it in court or whatever. But when you read all of these articles and you follow this the way we have followed it, you can only come to the conclusion that Ghislaine Maxwell is so much more sinister than we first thought. And that's saying a lot, because she, from the very beginning, was a sick, depraved, sinister, gross woman. And now, well, she's reached the levels of Jeffrey Epstein, and maybe has even surpassed him. If it comes out that this was her her plan from the beginning, and she was the one that planted the seeds, well, I have to tell you, folks, it will be a battle in hell for who the scummiest is between Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. All right, let's jump into these articles. The first one we're going to read is the Virginia Roberts article from the New York Post. And like I said, they're both very, very short. They're not long at all. So we're gonna cruise through these real quick and see what's what. This article, New York Post. Headline, Virginia Roberts backs DHS campaign against human trafficking. Author, Lee Brown. Virginia Roberts had a tweet, and it's a video of her. And she's standing, it looks like, on a wooden beamed fence with some chicken wire fencing. And she has the hashtags Wear Blue Day, Enough is Enough, Epstein cover up, Time's Up, and DHS Blue Campaign. So, the article. Prince Andrew accuser Virginia Roberts wore blue in an online video Sunday to stand united on National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Good for her. And good for everybody who's put this into motion, right? Because enough is enough. Human trafficking, it's unacceptable, folks, at any level. At any level. Slavery at any level is absolutely unconscionable. Okay? You can't turn the other cheek to human trafficking. It's not just regular old stealing. It's not regular old nation building. None of the stuff that our government is so good at. This is something beyond the pale. This is something that can never be acceptable, folks. Okay, human trafficking. So, if anybody disagrees that there should be a human trafficking day, well, I don't understand their thought pattern, and I don't understand why anybody would think that. And of course, there's always those jokers that have something to say. Roberts, who claims she had sex 3 times with Andrew, 59, while being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, wore a pale blue sweater as she publicly supported Homeland Security's Blue campaign that marked January 11th as Wear Blue Day. My name is Virginia Roberts. I stand united with the countless victims of human trafficking all over the world, said Roberts in the video Saturday, which the campaign recognizes as National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Let's put an end to it, she said, adding hashtags including Epstein cover-up, Time's Up, and Enough is Enough. Roberts has long been one of the most outspoken accusers against Epstein, and her claims about Andrew ultimately were crucial in him getting booted from royal duties last year. Andrew and Buckingham Palace have always denied her claims. Well, they might have denied her claims, but good old Handsy Andy isn't going to be trooping the colors this year, whatever the hell that means. I saw that article and I was like, what does the trooping the colors even mean? I didn't even bother reading it because, again, I truly have no desire to learn about English royalty or the monarchy. I don't care about those people. No offense or anything, but I don't care about them. I haven't cared about them since 1776. The Blue Campaign says it's a national public awareness campaign designed to educate the public, law enforcement, and other industry partners to recognize the indicators of human trafficking and how to appropriately respond to possible cases. Oh, here's an appropriate response. Whoever's involved in the human trafficking, throttle them. Pretty simple. Swoop them up, put them in jail, and be done with it. Throw away the key. Because if you're trafficking in human flesh, you are beyond gross. You are beyond a scumbag. Okay? What you are now is you're subhuman at this point, and you should be treated as such. Our next article is from page 6, and the headline is, Ghislaine Maxwell flies under the radar while lawyering up for Epstein lawsuit. The author of the article is Sarah Nathan, and it was produced on January 11th, 2020. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers will appear in New York City court this week in an ongoing fight against more damning records being unsealed. Why are they trying to fight the damning records being unsealed? Why does it matter? Why does it matter if these records are unsealed, folks? Who cares if it's quote-unquote damaging? Well, here's an idea. If you didn't want your reputation to be damaged, you shouldn't have hung out with Jeffrey Epstein. You shouldn't have been on his plane. And you certainly shouldn't have abused any girls. Okay? So I don't care about your reputation being damaged. I don't care about any of that. If your name has been mentioned in court depositions, I want to hear it. The end. Maxwell remains firmly in hiding, being protected by a number of pals, Page 6 revealed, but still retains a number of high-paid lawyers doing her bidding in court. Again, how is she affording all of this? How is this even possible? After her father died, she was supposedly broke, hat in hand, and that's why she got linked up with Jeffrey Epstein. So all of a sudden, she has all this money, now that with Epstein being dead, that she has all of this money to hire these lawyers and, go into these huge legal battles? Come on, man. Come on. As prosecutors weigh criminal proceedings against Jeffrey Epstein's former alleged madam and pedophile buddy, a legal fight wages on. Her team will appear before Judge Preska on Thursday and go up against a lawyer for Epstein's accuser, Virginia Roberts, who claims she was recruited by Maxwell to be Epstein's abuse victim and trafficked to Prince Andrew and other high-profile men. Andrew denies the allegations. We all know, folks, that Andrew couldn't have been there. He was getting pizza with his daughters. Come on, Handsy Andy wasn't there. Doesn't matter that there's a picture of him with her. It doesn't matter that 2 people at the club said that they saw him. Prince Andrew could never be involved. His fingers are too fat. Roberts sued Maxwell in 2015 for defamation after the British socialite publicly called her a liar. The case settled just before the trial. As part of the settlement, documents that would have been used at trial were put under seal. Last summer, a New York appellate court unsealed a portion of the documents which provided damaging details into how Epstein's sex trafficking operated. All right, and that's important, folks, because we see that an appellate court unsealed the documents. And I think the same can happen in Florida. I think that if they bring the case to Florida and they the case for the grand jury testimony, that is, if they appeal that and they kick it up to the appellate court, perhaps they'll have a more favorable ruling. And obviously, I am not a lawyer. I've said this 100 times on this podcast. I don't even really know much about how that sort of thing works, but I do know the very basics. And what you see here, this is called precedent, right? It was kicked up and the appellate court unsealed it. So that's definitely a good thing. That's good to know. And hopefully we see some movement that way in Florida as well, because the more documents that we see, well, the better off we're all going to be. The remaining documents yet to be unsealed were sent to Judge Preska for her review. So that's good. Let's hope that Judge Preska reviews these documents and decides she wants to send them out, right? Sigrid McCauley, an attorney for Roberts and other Epstein accusers, including Annie Farmer, told Page 6 that though Maxwell has not been seen publicly, she's hiding in plain sight. McCauley, who practices with David Boies, has been trying to serve Maxwell and her lawyers with Farmer's complaint. So far, Maxwell's lawyers have not responded to multiple requests to accept service on Maxwell's behalf. And I wonder how that works. If they're being paid by Ghislaine Maxwell, do they have to admit that they're her lawyers? Or is there some sort of loophole for them? Again, I'm not really too well versed in that. And when it comes to that sort of stuff, I'm not locked into the law and how it works when it comes to lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not too sure how that works. But you would think that if they're representing Maxwell, that they would have to accept any sort of legal documentation that's sent their way, right? McCauley said, Ghislaine Maxwell might be MIA, but her lawyers know where to find her. For 5 years, her lawyers have worked aggressively to conceal the central role we maintain Maxwell played as Epstein's co-conspirator and the devastation they brought upon the lives of countless young girls and women. This is important here, too. This is very interesting. The Epstein's co-conspirator. I like that, but it's not enough. I wanted to say Epstein's partner in crime, right? Co-conspirator could be somebody that was just providing him, financial support maybe. Obviously, he didn't need that, but, just an example. What Ghislaine Maxwell was much more than a co-conspirator. Much more than a co-conspirator. And I know it's going to come out eventually that she was the brains of this operation. It's going to come out eventually. Much of the story remains untold. Sources close to Roberts say she's very hopeful the government has expressed interest in pursuing those who helped facilitate Epstein's crimes. Well, Miss Roberts, you are not the only one. We are very hopeful that they will do their jobs. We are very hopeful that they will arrest these pieces of crap and that you, and the other victims will get the justice that you need. All right? It's not even that you want justice at this point. It's that you need this justice, and the country needs this justice. Because what's going on right now, what these girls have went through is absolutely, positively unacceptable. And I don't mean the abuse, folks. I mean the after facts. I mean the way the government treated them. I mean the way that the government just basically turned the other cheek and let these sick, depraved rapists and molesters walk free. How the media ignored everything. It's unacceptable, and we're not going to let it happen again. We're not going to allow this story to go away. We're going to be here every day, screaming with our megaphone, causing a ruckus, and making sure that people understand that this case is going nowhere. There is only one option in this case, and that, my friends, is forward. The only option is to move forward towards these people facing justice, towards the girls who were abused getting the justice that they so desire. All right, folks, if you'd like to contact me, you could do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. And if you would like to help support the podcast and help us get out to some of these locations we plan on going to, all starting with New Mexico in about 8 or 9 days, well, you could do that by clicking on the GoFundMe link that is in the description box. Have a great Monday, everybody, and I will talk to you later.